Okay, so today's class, at this stage we have done solving the equations when you recognize that that 3 is being multiplied by that x, so you have to do the opposite operation, which is to divide. Then we complicated a little in the second class where we added in a constant. Okay, so now I wouldn't say I'm complicating it further, I think it's more or less the same, but here instead of having an additional constant, we actually have an additional variable. Okay, so if you look, we don't have one y, we actually have two of them. There's another one here. Okay, so all the rules still apply. It's exactly the same. Okay, so the first one, so y equals minus 3y plus 20. So I'm going to put in my line, and like we'll gradually drop this. Okay, sorry, don't know what happened there. Insert line. Okay, we'll gradually drop this line off. All right. Okay, so as I said, when you are asked to solve, in this case we're trying to solve for y, your job is to isolate y. Let's get it on its own. Okay, now at the moment that's much harder because there's two of them. Okay, so when there's more than one of them and you're trying to isolate, first you have to gather. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to gather them on the same side. Second thing you do is you simplify them, and then you can worry about isolating. Okay, so there's just an additional step. Okay, right, so this is our left hand side and this is our right hand side. Now, as I said a good few times, it doesn't matter which side you isolate the y on. Okay, so you can just pick, and you have enough maths at this stage to isolate it on either side, so it really doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to choose to isolate on the left hand side. So that means this one here is already on the left hand side, so it's fine, absolutely fine. But this one is not. I don't want this one to be on the right hand side. I want it to be over here with the other one on the left hand side. So I want to get rid of it from the right hand side and put it on the left. Now we've talked about getting rid of. So if I want to get rid of that, I do exactly the same as we discussed before. I perform, no, sorry, let's use the same words. I perform the inverse operation. Okay, so I don't want this on the right hand side, I want it over here with the other y on the left hand side. So this is a plus 3y, so the opposite of that, or the inverse operation of that, sorry, this is a minus 3y, so the opposite would be a plus 3y, and then that will get rid of it. But we always need to balance. So in order to get rid of that from the right hand side, I had to plus 3y, then I have to balance that by plusing 3y on the left hand side. Okay, now I've gathered them. So the y's are over here on the left hand side, and these are no longer here now on the right hand side. The only thing left on the right hand side is the 20. So I'm into step 2, which is to simplify. Okay, so we've a bit of invisible maths here, and we've done loads of simplification. So we have 1y and we have 3y. So in total, in the y family, we have 4 of them. And as I said, this is gone. This took it out. So all I have here is 20. And now I'm back to maths that I've been doing for the last few days. The y I'm trying to isolate. And now I can isolate it because there's only one of them. So this here can be isolated. So at the moment the y has been multiplied by the 4. I perform the opposite operation, which is to divide by 4. That will take out the 4. Have to balance, so I have to do it on the other side. So then my y is isolated, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Alright, so the maths didn't change. Okay, it was, I suppose, just what was required at the start was a little different. Okay, so let's keep going. So b there is minus 3y equals minus 10, I've forgotten the end, plus 2y. Okay, so put in my line, and this is the left hand side, and this is the right hand side. And like, again, it doesn't matter which side you choose, so for consistency, I'll choose the left hand side. Okay, so this one is already there, which is great, but this one is in the wrong place at the moment. It's on the right hand side, and I want to bring it over here to the left hand side, which means I want to get rid of it from the right hand side. To get rid of something, you perform the opposite operation. So a plus 2y, the opposite of that would be a minus 2y. That will get rid of it. But if I minus 2y here, I have to mirror that or balance that and minus 2y over here. Okay, so now all of my y's are in the left hand side, so they are gathered. So I move on to step 2, which is to simplify. Okay, so these y's are in the same family, so I can do minus 3 minus 2, which is minus 5 being the total for my y family. On the right hand side then, these 2y's are gone because I used the minus 2y to get rid of the plus 2y, so it's gone. So all I've left is minus 10. So now I have simplified. So now I can move on to step 3, which is to isolate. So I want to isolate the y. So I acknowledge what's going on with the y, which is that it's being multiplied by a minus 5. So the opposite operation of that is to divide by a minus 5. I have to balance, so if I'm going to divide by a minus 5 on the left, I have to do the same on the right. Y is isolated. Remember, when you're dividing, it's the same as multiplying, so the signs are the same, which means I get a plus, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so that is solving linear equations 3 when you're trying to isolate a letter, but you have more than one of that letter. You follow this little 3-step thing. So you gather them, and to gather, you use this opposite operation, which we've been doing for 2 days. You then simplify, which you learned how to do like a week ago. So combining these because they're in the same family. And then you isolate, which we learned how to do 2 classes ago. Okay, so I haven't actually taught you anything new. I suppose we're just applying it in a different way. And this is one of the things with algebra. You have to deal with the situation in front of you, and it can be totally different from one question to another. All right, so I will give you a homework assignment based on that idea of having more than one of the variable that you're looking for.